And I wasn't going to take much time, but seeing as how Steve went a little short, I just want to share one story with you. And I was told I could speak today earlier, and I was actually, I got here and found out that I was to sing. But if you don't mind me just taking a few more minutes, this won't take long, but this is another Wisconsin story. I had never seen it, but a dear friend gave me this book called Stories from a Soldier's Heart. And on page 89, Michael Powers is a Wisconsin native, and he wrote this story. And I'd like to share it with you if you don't mind. And thanks to those of you from World War II, there's just a few of you left, I know, but each year my video production company is hired to go to Washington, D.C. with the 8th grade class from Clinton, Wisconsin, where I grew up, and I videotaped their trip. I always enjoy visiting our nation's capital. Each year I take some special memories back with me, but this fall's trip was especially memorable. On the last night of our trip, we stopped at the Iwo Jima Memorial. It's the largest bronze statue in the world. Many of us have seen it. It depicts one of the most famous photographs in history, the World War II image of 6 brave young men raising the American flag at the top of Mount Suribachi in the island of Iwo Jima, Japan. About 100 students and chaperones piled off the buses and headed toward the memorial, and I noticed a solitary figure at the base of the statue. As I got closer, he said, "Where are you guys from?" I said, "Wisconsin." "Hey, I'm a cheesehead too," he said. "Come gather around here, cheeseheads, and I will tell you a story." James Bradley just happened to be in Washington, D.C. to speak at the memorial the following day, and he was there to say goodnight to his dad, who had since passed away. He was just about to leave, and he saw the bus pull up. I videotaped him as he spoke to us and received his permission to share what he said. It's one thing to tour the monuments, but it is another thing to get the insight we received that night. When we gathered around, he began to speak. "My name is James Bradley. I'm from Antico, Wisconsin. My dad is on that statue, and I just wrote a book called Flags of Our Fathers. It's the story of the 6 boys you see behind me. 6 boys raised that flag." I pointed to the guy putting the pole in the ground, and he told us his name was Harlan Block. Harlan was an all-state football player, listed in the Marine Corps with all the senior members of his football team. They were off to play another kind of game, a game called war. But it didn't turn out to be a game. Harlan, at the age of 21, died with his intestines in his hand. Bradley shared that detail with us because he said the generals stand in front of the statue and talk about the glory of war. You guys need to know most of the boys in Iwo Jima were 17, 18, 19 years old. He pointed to the statue. See that next guy? That's Renee Gagnon from New Hampshire. If you took Renee's helmet off at the moment the photo was taken, you'd find a photograph in the webbing. I'm sure you guys did that. Photograph of his girlfriend. Renee put it there for protection because he was scared. He was 18 years old. Boys won the Battle of Iwo Jima, not men. The next image on the statue is Sergeant Mike Stank. Mike is my hero. He's a hero of all these guys. They called him the old man because he was so old. He was already 24. When Mike would motivate his boys in training camp, he didn't say, "Hey, let's go kill the enemy," or "Let's die for our country." He knew he was talking to little boys. Instead, he would say, "You do what I say, and I'll get you home to your mother." The next man was Ira Hayes. He had a song written about him. A Pima Indian from Arizona who lived through the terror on Iwo Jima. Ira Hayes walked off. He went into the White House with my dad, and President Truman said, "You're a hero, Ira Hayes." He told the reporters, "How can I feel like a hero when 250 of my buddies hit the island with me and only 27 walked off?" So you take your class at school, 250 of you spending a year together having fun, doing everything together, all 250 of you hit the beach and only 27 walk off alive. That was Ira Hayes. He had images of horror in his mind. The next guy is Franklin Sousley on the statue from Hilltop, Kentucky, fun-loving hillbilly. Franklin died in Iwo Jima at the age of 17 years old. When the telegram came to his mother that he was dead, it went to the Hilltop General Store. Barefoot boy ran the telegram to his farm. The neighbors could hear her screaming all night long and into the morning, and they lived a quarter-mile away. Finally, he pointed to the image of his father, John Bradley, from Antigo, Wisconsin. His dad lived until 94, but declined every interview with the press. When Walter Cronkite or the New York Times would call the house, Mr. Bradley would say, we were trained as little kids to say, sorry sir, my dad's not here. He's in Canada fishing. There's no phone there, sir. No, we don't know when he's coming back. My dad never fished and he never went to Canada. Usually he was sitting right there at the table eating his Campbell's soup, but we had to tell the press he was out fishing. He didn't want to talk to the press. You see, my dad never saw himself as any kind of hero. Everyone thinks these guys are heroes because they're in a photo and they're on a monument. My dad knew better. He was a medic. John Bradley from Antigo, Wisconsin, was a caregiver. In Iwo Jima, he probably held over 200 boys as they died in his arms. And when boys died in Iwo Jima, they writhed and they screamed in pain. Bradley recalled his third grade teacher calling the old man Bradley a hero. When I went home and I told my dad that, he looked at me in the eyes and he said, I want to tell you something, son. Always remember, the heroes of Iwo Jima are the guys who did not come back home. Did not come back. So that's the story of 6 young boys, Bradley finished. 3 died in Iwo Jima, 3 came back home as a national hero. Overall, 7,000 young men died in Iwo Jima in the worst battle in the history of the United States Marine Corps. My voice is giving out, so I'll end here. Thank you for your time. That number boggled my mind as I tried to comprehend how many lives those deaths altered on American soil so many years ago. How many hearts of loved ones left behind were seared. Loved ones like this proud son who has so graciously shared part of his history with us. And suddenly that monument wasn't just a big old piece of metal with a flag sticking out the top. It came to life before our eyes through the heartfelt words of a son who indeed had a father who was a hero then, and he's a hero now. Thank you for letting me share that story about another Wisconsin man. Former President Reagan said it best. We will always remember. We will always be proud of you. We will always be prepared so that we may always be free. Semper Fi. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And now you can see out the windows to the side, we'll have our American Legion Post 53 Honor Guard do their military salute.
TAPS always serves as a very sober reminder of those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Let us lead us in a benediction today. Let us pray. O Lord, we are proud to have gathered this day as we remember our veterans. Bless them abundantly for the hardships they faced and for the sacrifices they made in the service of our nation. We respect them, we thank them, we honor them, and we are proud of them. And our prayer is that you will watch over our veterans and bless them with peace and happiness. We are especially thankful for our veterans here at the Wisconsin Detention Home, Chippewa Falls. We're thankful that they're well cared for and are honored in their service to our nation. Bless them and their families. And now grant us peace. And finally, God bless America. For God and country I pray. Amen.
And now would the Vietnam veterans in the audience please come forward. I know Dave is out there, I see a few others. Come forward and move up toward the plaque. We're going to unveil the plaque. I'd like to have you step forward. While you're doing that, I'll give you a little bit of history. There is a bronze plaque under the cover there that will be displayed in our Veterans Home in memory of the 165,400 men and women from Wisconsin who served during the Vietnam era. This plaque, as you'll see later when you walk up here, reads something like this. This memorial is erected in memory of all Vietnam veterans who went to war as kids and came back as men and women, with the horrors of war instilled in every fiber of their being, and who were never given the respect and honor they dearly deserved. So thank you, Vietnam era veterans, and now please unveil the memorial. And there it is. Let's give him a hand. Vietnam veterans and the rest of you, please stick around for some pictures. This is a very important monument that we have here, and I've had several requests for pictures. So, Vietnam vets, please return to your seats, and we'll prepare to retire the colors. Although first, we're going to ask Representative Petrick to sing God Bless America.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in this solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Please retire the colors. That does conclude our program for today, but now we'd like you to join the Marines in celebrating their birthday, and I believe that's happening in the public area. So right out the door, and we'll join the Marines in celebrating their birthday. Thank you very much for attending.
Yeah, well, very nice.